Enoch is a figure in the Bible whose story is surrounded by mystery and intrigue. His disappearance has left many wondering about the true nature of his fate. The Bible says that Enoch walked with God and then was no more because God took him away. Genesis 5:24. This simple statement has led to many questions about what exactly happened to him and why his disappearance was so unusual. Enoch's story appears in the book of Genesis. He was the great-grandfather of Noah and the father of Methuselah, the oldest person recorded in the Bible. Enoch lived 365 years, which is shorter than many others in his time. However, his life was remarkable not because of his length of years, but because of the way he lived. The phrase "walked with God" is significant. It suggests a deep relationship between Enoch and God. This wasn't just about following religious rules. It was about Enoch living in close fellowship with God. This is important because in the Bible only a few people are described as walking with God, a sign of a strong and intimate connection. Walking with God implies a life of righteousness and obedience. In the context of Enoch's time, this was a rare thing. The world around him was corrupt, with people living in sin and turning away from God. Yet, Enoch stood out because of his commitment to God. His relationship with God was so deep that it led to a mysterious outcome: his disappearance. The Bible says that Enoch did not die in the usual way. Instead, God took him away. This means that Enoch did not experience physical death like most people in the Bible. Some believe that Enoch was taken up to heaven in a physical way. They point to the story of Elijah, another biblical figure who was taken up in a whirlwind. This similarity has led to the idea that Enoch, like Elijah, was taken directly to heaven without dying. The Bible does not provide many details, but this interpretation suggests that God wanted Enoch to be with him, bypassing the ordinary process of death. Others believe that Enoch's disappearance signifies something more symbolic. His being taken by God could represent the idea of divine favor. Enoch's close relationship with God may have been so strong that God chose to take him to himself as a reward for his faithfulness and righteousness. What makes Enoch's life even more mysterious is that there is very little about him in the Bible, yet his story holds significant weight. The mention of him walking with God suggests that he was a man of great faith and obedience. Despite this, very few details are given about his actions or teachings. The Bible in Genesis chapter 5 verse 22 says that Enoch walked faithfully with God for 300 years. This statement emphasizes the consistency of Enoch's relationship with God. During those years, Enoch must have been a light in a world filled with darkness. Interestingly, there is another book, known as the Book of Enoch, which is not included in the Bible but has been influential in some religious traditions. This book, which is considered apocryphal by many, tells more about Enoch's life, including visions of the future and interactions with angels. While this book is not part of the Bible, it has added to the mystery and intrigue surrounding Enoch. Enoch's disappearance can be seen as a message to those who read the Bible. It shows that living a life faithful to God can result in something extraordinary. His being taken by God without experiencing death suggests that God's relationship with people can be so close that physical death might not be the end. For some, Enoch's story is a reminder that there is more to life than what we see. The Bible often speaks of life beyond death, and Enoch's disappearance could be seen as a confirmation of this belief. It reminds us that, in God's plan, death is not the final word. Enoch is also mentioned in the New Testament. In Hebrews chapter 11 verse 5 it says, "By faith Enoch was taken from this life, so that he did not experience death. He could not be found because God had taken him away." This passage in Hebrews emphasizes the role of faith in Enoch's life. In the book of Jude, Enoch is mentioned again. Jude, chapter 1 verses 14 to 15 says, "Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied about them. See, the Lord is coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones." Here, Enoch is depicted as a prophet, speaking about the coming judgment and the return of the Lord. Although the Bible doesn't give us a lot of details about Enoch's life, his legacy is profound. He is remembered for his faith, his obedience, and his close relationship with God. His disappearance serves as a powerful symbol of the possibility of a life deeply connected with God. Enoch's story challenges us to consider how we live our own lives. Are we walking with God in a way that is pleasing to Him? Are we faithful and obedient, as Enoch was? The story of Enoch is shrouded in mystery, but it carries a deep and powerful message. His life stands as an example of what it means to walk with God. His sudden disappearance without dying challenges us to think beyond the physical realm and consider the spiritual truths in life. Enoch's life reminds us of the rewards of faithfulness and the possibility of a deep relationship with God. Whether seen as a sign of divine favor or as a symbol of God's power over life and death, Enoch's story encourages us to live faithfully and trust in God's plan for our lives.